Hello there guys, welcome to another of my live videos, and today I'm just be officially updating you on some more latest news. So big breaking news has come out this morning in regards to Chris Smalling. This is actually stemming from Fabrizio Romano, who is actually very reliable when it does come to Italian news, and he's basically said that Chris Smalling has agreed to go on loan to Roma for this season. Reportedly Roma will pay around 2.7 million to take Chris Smalling out on loan for this season. I don't think there's an obligation for Roma to buy him at the end of the loan and that, but it has currently confirmed today. According to Sky Sports as well, Chris Smalling visited Manchester United's headquarters today. I think it was today. Visited Manchester United's headquarters, and reportedly to define his exit, and reportedly he's set to undergo his medical in Italy, I think, this evening and that. So Chris Smalling is going to be loaned out for this season. But we do know anyway that Chris Smalling has not played for Manchester United in the Premier League so far this season, because we do know he's behind the likes of Harry Maguire. He's obviously behind the likes of Alex Tuanzebe, so he has actually fallen down the pecking order. Chris Smalling, of course, is still under contract with Manchester United until 2022. Obviously, Chris Smalling renewed his contract, I think it was in December of last year. Obviously, we do know Chris Smalling's been a long-serving player at the football club. He has been at Manchester United 9 years, so he's actually nearly been at the football club nearly a decade. He has made over 300 odd appearances in all competitions and that, and I think he has won the Premier League with us twice. He's won the FA Cup, he's won the League Cup, and of course he has won the Europa League as Chris Smalling. So he's another player, of course, that's going to be leaving Manchester United. Obviously, as you all do know as well, that Everton had inquired about getting Chris Smalling on loan, before transfer deadline day, but of course Manchester United had turned this loan offer down. But yeah, Fabrizio Romano has broke out the news this morning. The loan deal's been agreed. Roma will pay Man United just under £3 million for the loan, but it's without an option to buy at the end of the loan and that. So possibly after the loan, Chris Smalling probably will return to Manchester United. He's 29 years of age now anyway, he's Smalling, and of course he's aged up and that. But yeah, he's going to be going to Roma on loan, and I did say we need to get rid of at least one central defender, because analysing it now anyway, we have got a lot of central defenders in our team. We've got around 7 centre backs, but with Chris Smalling going, we've still got 6 centre backs, so maybe we should orchestrate on selling another central defender. But I did say the likes of Chris Smalling and Phil Jones and all that are no longer good enough to represent Manchester United. But overall, we have seen glimpses of how good, Chris Smalling can be, in his, in the time he's been at Manchester United and that. But I just believe now he's too inconsistent and that. And I thought it was, in that aspect, it was bad business from the football club, giving Chris Smalling a new long-term contract. It was also a bad business from us, giving Phil Jones a new long-term contract and that. But yeah, he is going to be going to Roma on loan. So that's another player now for Manchester United, going to Italy, because obviously we're seeing Lukaku go to Italy, to Inter Milan. Obviously Sanchez has obviously gone on loan to Inter Milan in Italy as well, and I think it's around 6 players now that have departed the football club since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's arrival. Obviously we saw Antonio Valencia leave at the end of last season after he served 10 years at Manchester United. Obviously we saw Ander Herrera, of course, leave the football club. It was a disappointment that we didn't recruit a replacement for Ander Herrera. Obviously Fellaini left the football club. Obviously we know that Ronald Lukaku, of course, left the football club, and again we didn't recruit a replacement for him. But Solskjaer give his overarching view on that, and he explained the reason why we didn't get that replacement for Ronald Lukaku, to obviously prioritise the development of Mason Greenwood and that. And obviously now Sanchez and that's gone on loan to Inter Milan. Obviously it got confirmed that Joe Pereira went on loan to Hearts a couple of weeks ago as well. So quite a few players have left now, since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's arrival and that. But like I did basically say, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's first choice centre backs are obviously Harry Maguire and Victor Lindelof and that. And I think Harry Maguire overall has done quite well. I think he's had a fantastic start to his Manchester United career and that. And I do believe he's got all the attributes to succeed at Manchester United. And obviously Harry Maguire is the best option than what we've got in our backline at this present time. Obviously with Victor Lindelof, these two question marks around him. Can he keep the consistency up? And I do believe Victor Lindelof can keep the consistency up. I do believe he can do this, Victor Lindelof. Obviously he's now in his 3rd season as a Manchester United player. Victor Lindelof, overall has started the season really well so far this season. He did well in his 2nd season with the football club. And I think he's flourishing at Manchester United, is Victor Lindelof and that. So obviously, Victor Lindelof and Harry Maguire is going to be Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's first choice. Maybe in the cup games, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer no more may rotate a little bit as well. But it's good business. It's good business from the football club. Obviously, getting rid of Chris Smalling and that. So he has now he's going to be going on loan to Roma. Obviously, I think another player that needs to leave the football club as well is Marcus Rojo. Now, obviously, don't forget, we've got until the 2nd of September, to negotiate the sale of players and that, because the European window is open until the 2nd of September. With Marcus Rojo, I think quite a few teams have been in for him. Don't forget, reflecting back on transfer deadline day, I think it was, Everton had inquired about getting Marcus Rojo. We'd put around the £25 million valuation on him. Obviously, just got under 2 years left on his contract with Manchester United, I think, as Rojo. But I did say his Manchester United career has been mainly affected, the amount of injuries he has sustained and that. And obviously, he isn't first choice anywhere. So obviously, he's surfaced to requirements at the football club. Rojo hasn't played this season in the Premier League for Man United. He hasn't played yet this season. But he did actually, play throughout pre-season. To be fair to Rojo, he was quite impressive in that. So I think, we need to get rid of Rojo and Dam. They're two players that need to leave the football club and that, because with Dam, he hasn't really been given the chance as a Manchester United player. So I think we could maybe generate around maybe 30 or 35 million pounds for the departures of Rojo and Darmian and that. But actually, Rojo could be in line to play against Southampton this weekend. Following the injury we have, obviously got to Luke Shaw. Luke Shaw's got a hamstring injury and that. So Rojo could play on that left hand side. Maybe Ashley Young, could play on that left-hand side in that. So it will be one of them, of course, that does play. But Damian Rojo definitely need to leave the football club. But I did say that there is still problematic players at Manchester United and that. But analysing the summer transfer window, we did recommend three good players into the team and that. We spent £148 million on Daniel James and Wan-Bissaka and of course on Harry Maguire. And we have seen glimpses of what good signings they've proven to be. So far, I do believe Harry Maguire has addressed our defensive deficiencies. I think, Wan-Bissaka, he's a really, really good right back. I think he's got all the ingredients required to become a huge success at Manchester United. I think his defensive abilities are good. I think he intercepts the ball and that really, really well, does Bissaka. And I think with Daniel James, my overarching view on him is still a prospect and needs time to develop and that. And he's still improvements needed in his game and that. But he has started this season, really, really well. So I'm glad we got that experienced centre-half. And like I said, I'm glad we got that right back in. But we obviously, these still deficiencies in that midfield, of course, that does need to be addressed in that. Obviously, as well, throughout the course of the summer, was in search for a right winner and that, as you all know. But you definitely further more investment is needed in the squad. But I did say it was going to be hard for us to address all the problematic areas in one summer transfer window. It was going to be very, very difficult for us, to do that and that. But I do believe, the players we was in for throughout the course of the summer will probably, reignite our interest in them players in the January transfer window. So we'll probably go back in for Bruno Fernandes in January. We may go back in for Dybala. We could go back in for Christian Eriksen. I think we'll go back in for Jadon Sancho next summer and that. But that I've got a lot of concern developments about our midfield because we do seem to be lacking in that midfield area and that. Some people still believe that we do need a replacement for Romelu Lukaku. But the vast majority of Manchester United fans, including me, and obviously, give Ed Woodward a lot of criticism. They've also given the board a lot of criticism and that. They've demanded Ed Woodward out. They've also demanded the Glazers out and that. Because they did assure that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer would have been back throughout the course of the summer. But obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer didn't get all the players that I wanted to recommend in to the football club and that. But I did say certain players would have had reservations about joining the football club, obviously, because we're not in a Champions League football. But I think, the board have come to terms and they've realised that they didn't back Ole Gunnar Solskjaer enough, throughout the course of the summer. So I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is going to be backed in the next couple of windows. So I do believe in January Solskjaer will be backed, and I do believe next summer Solskjaer will be backed. And I think regardless of what happens this season, I should think, that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's job, will be safe. As long as, we're not fighting relegation, or as long as, we don't finish mid-table, I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's job, should be safe for at least this season. But I think, actually, Solskjaer, when the summer transfer window was open, I think he'd spoken with Ed Woodward about the lack of business in the current transfer market. But analysing our recruitment policy, prior to this summer, in the recent windows, we haven't, our recruitment policy's been very, very poor, and we haven't been competitive enough, because we didn't get him in January. Obviously, reflecting back last summer under the Jose Mourinho era, of course, we didn't get our number one targets in that. And analysing it so far this season, I have seen slight improvements in Manchester United. I haven't seen much improvements, but I've seen slight improvements from last season, because last season was a huge disappointment. We finished 6th. Obviously, we failed to qualify for the Champions League last season. We only managed to score 53 goals in the Premier League, and we conceded 54 goals in the Premier League last season. That was our highest total, of course, in 40 years in that. But the improvements I've slightly seen this season, I think we do look a bit better in that attacking third of the pitch. I still believe we need someone in that can create more chances, someone who's good at taking set pieces. We need to see more leadership in that in the team. But we have now got that pace up front, and that's something we lacked last season. But you've got Daniel James with electrifying pace. You've also got Anthony Martial, with very, very good pace. His speed's really, really good. I think his finishing and that's improved. And I think Martial's had a great start to this season. I think it did say his thigh injury he had sustained in our 2-1 defeat to Crystal Palace. It did say it was going to be further assessed, was his injury. So I'm hopeful that his injury is not too severe in that Anthony Martial's, because he is a very, very imperative player, and he has started, this season, really, really well. Obviously, it confirmed at the start of the season that Martial has been given that number 9 shirt. So obviously, he's playing more centrally this season, because he seems to be more effective in that central position. Martial can play out wide. He can also play centrally in that. Obviously, he signed a 5-year deal back in January as well. Did Martial, and he's on a substantial amount. 23 years of age. I think he's on around £200,000 a week as well as Martial. Martial scored 50 goals now for the club, as you all know. He scored his 50th goal against Wolves. So I'm hopeful that Martial's injury is not too severe. You've got Rashford in that, fantastic pace, and I think Rashford overall, prior to his penalty miss against Crystal Palace, I think he's had a good start to this season. But I do believe Martial and Rashford are developing, fantastically well. Rashford's only 21 years of age, and I think when Rashford's on form, he's good at receiving the ball, he's good at getting them runs in behind, and I think his finishing assets has really, really improved as well. And I know Rashford and Martial, were inconsistent in the last couple of months of last season, but I still said at that point they are both the long-term solutions for Manchester United. But we have now got that pace up front, so I do believe we are going to score more goals this season. I did say we do look a bit better defensively now, but like I said, I've got a lot of concerns about our midfield. About our midfield and that, and but these slight improvements, of what I've seen of Manchester United. I do believe, the young upcoming players, should become a fruition this season, because I thought there was a fruition, throughout pre-season with the young upcoming players, and I do believe, they will get given their chances this season. Obviously, Mason Greenwood has not yet started the game from the start, but he has made 3 substitute appearances, and he has looked quite, lively, when he has come on. Mason Greenwood, he's only 17 years of age, and I do believe now that he's got into the first team, I think Mason Greenwood can replicate, in the first team, what he did with the Manchester United reserves last season, and that. And I thought Mason Greenwood was fantastic, throughout pre-season. I do believe Chong should get given his opportunities this season. I think Angel Gomez should be a big part of the squad this season. Obviously, with Alex Tuanzebe, I think we're orchestrating on keeping him at the football club for this present time anyway, because I think he's going to be a big part of the squad this season, is Alex Tuanzebe, even though Victor Lindelof and Harry Maguire, of course, are our first choice centre-backs. Alex Tuanzebe has gained experience, because obviously he was on loan with Aston Villa last season, and I think he can replicate what he did now with Man United and what he did at Aston Villa last season. So I think he will get his opportunities this season. Obviously with Diego Dalot, he's the upcoming future. He's only been at Man United since last summer. With Diego Dalot, obviously, he's out with injury. I think he's out of action until after the international break. And I don't know what type of injury he's got, but he has got an injury as Diego Dalot, but I don't think it's too severe in that. So, obviously, he's the upcoming future. I thought he did well throughout pre-season, the games he played, and I thought he did well towards the back end of last season, did Dalot. Don't forget Dalot's versatile, because he's predominantly a right back, but he can also play as a left back. He can also, play as a right winger and that. And I did say, we have got quite a few full-backs in our team. We've got Anwan Saka, that's our first choice right back. You've probably got Ash Young there, who's a backup option. Diego Dalot's one of the backup options as well. You've got Diamond, that's a fullback, but obviously Diamond serves his 2 requirements at the football club. Luke Shaw, of course, he's injured, like I've just said. So we have got quite a few fullbacks in our current squad, as you all know. But like I said, the majority of the players, should get given their chances this season. My overarching view on the likes of McTominay, that I think he started the season pretty well, to be quite honest with you. I thought, McTominay did well throughout pre-season. That, I still don't know if McTominay is the long-term solution for Manchester United. I don't know if he's got all the attributes to succeed as a Manchester United player. And I've got the same thoughts about Andres Pereira and Fred and that. I know we've seen glimpses of how good they are and that. But I think McTominay is developing well, and I think when he plays well, he plays between the lines fantastically well, and I think he's been playing alongside Paul Pogba really, really well so far this season. So I think he will be better this season. McTominay, with Andres Pereira, I think he should improve as well this season. And with Fred, I know he's been mainly inconsistent as Fred, since his arrival from Shakhtar Donetsk last summer. He hasn't really replicated at Manchester United, what he did at Shakhtar Donetsk, because I thought he was exceptional at Shakhtar Donetsk. And that, Fred, to be fair to him, did well towards the back end of last season. He also did well in the games he played throughout pre-season. That, but I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer expects better things from Fred this season. But I do believe Fred is a much better solution than Matic. I think he's better on the ball than Matic, and I think he's more mobile on the ball than Matic. I do believe he's a better option than Matic. I'm going to be honest about that. We paid just under £50 million for Fred, so you can't quite frankly say that we did overpay for him. But like I said, we've got a history of spending big on players and that. We've obviously got players on big contracts, but we're a massive club and we've got massive revenue, so obviously we can afford to do that. And with Fred, he enjoyed a very difficult time, especially under the Jose Mourinho era, because Fred, of course, never really got the opportunity in that. But yeah, that midfield, does concern me a lot, and with Matic, I think he's very, very inconsistent. I think he's another problematic player at the football club. Obviously, I think he's now into his third season as a Manchester United player with Nemanja Matic. He's been very inconsistent for the football club. We have seen glimpses, of how good he can be in that Matic, because he's had a good few games where he's played well for Manchester United and that, and obviously he's highly experienced. He won a couple of titles and that with Chelsea, but he just makes that midfield, of course, look totally imbalanced, and of course he's too slow and that, and he's not getting any younger. Matic, of course, he's aging up. I don't think he's no longer first choice, because obviously he was first choice last season. Well, our first choice midfield trio last season was actually Matic, Herrera and Paul Pogba, as you all know. But yeah, I think it's very, very essential that we do recommend at least one midfielder in the January transfer window. And I would have loved Bruno Fernandes to come in, because he was one of our main priority targets throughout the course of the summer transfer window. And I would have been excited about the prospect of Bruno Fernandes playing alongside Paul Pogba in our midfield, because I think they would have complemented each other fantastically well. So now I'm very, very hopeful that we can try and convince Paul Pogba to remain at the football club, especially with our failure to land a midfielder throughout the course of the summer. And Ole Gunnar Solskjaer knows deep down of how much of an imperative player that Paul Pogba is. We do know he has been mainly inconsistent since he rejoined Man United from Juventus back in 2016, but I'll credit Paul Pogba. I think he started this season really, really well. I think he also did really, really well throughout pre-season. That did Paul Pogba, and we have seen glimpses of how good he can be. When he's at his best, Pogba is one of the best midfields in the world. He's like two players in one, and I think you mainly see the best of Paul Pogba when he's freed up and that. And in looking at the games statistically last season, we won the majority of our games, of course, when Ander Herrera, was playing and he was freeing up the likes of Paul Pogba and that. So that just emphasised how much of an impact Ander Herrera made in that midfield last season for Manchester United. But Paul Pogba, when he's at his best as well, he's good at feeding the attacks and that. I think he's also really, really good at receiving the ball. But hopefully we could try and convince him to remain at the football club. Now, obviously, we do know for the entirety of the summer that Paul Pogba's been heavily linked with a move to Real Madrid. Yet again, Paul Pogba's brother, Matthias Pogba, he's come out and had his overarching view on the speculation about his brother, and he reportedly has fueled more speculation basically as his brother, and he still believes that Paul Pogba could end up signing for Real Madrid, and he knows how good Paul Pogba would represent Real Madrid and all that. But I still think there's uncertainty regarding Paul Pogba's future and that. But it was initially in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's plan to build a side around Paul Pogba. But I did say for the entirety of this summer, based on the substantial amount we've put on Paul Pogba, this has seemed to be the stumbling block of Paul Pogba leaving Manchester United for Real Madrid. Because obviously, we're adamant he's not for sale anywhere, but he did say if we had to sell him, we'd want around 150, 160 million pounds. Some reports were quoting out saying that we wanted around 180 million pounds for Paul Pogba. Obviously, that's just over double than what we initially paid for him from Juventus back in 2016. yeah, it's just basically, over double. And obviously Real Madrid are not willing to pay up to £180 million for him. But his first choice preference has been Real Madrid, and his likely destination has been Real Madrid. So if Pogba leaves Man United, he will go to Real Madrid and that. But Real Madrid have spent a substantial amount this summer. They've spent £300 million on 5 players. They have sold players of Real Madrid, so they have generated some of that money back of Real Madrid. But yeah, they're not willing to pay up to £180 million, of course, for his services. As you all know, Christian Eriksen has been on Real Madrid's agenda, but I do believe Real Madrid's preference is Paul Pogba over Christian Eriksen and that. But yeah, for the entirety of the summer, there's been a lot of talks about Paul Pogba going to Real Madrid. Obviously, Paul Pogba quite recently, has been subjected to online racial abuse, and I think Paul Pogba handled the situation quite well. But he was subjected to this online racial abuse, I think, following his penalty miss against Wolves and that. And there was a lot of Man United fans, demanding, for Rashford to take the penalties in future. And actually, Rashford missed a penalty against Crystal Palace and that. And but like I said, Paul Pogba said early on this summer, that he wanted to leave Manchester United. He publicly admitted this, and he did say, that he's seeking for a new challenge and that. And he obviously wanted to leave Manchester United to rejuvenate his career. I know Paul Pogba's still got 2 years left in his contract with Manchester United, with an option to extend it by a further year. He's obviously our most expensive signing. He's Paul Pogba. He's not only our most expensive signing, he's one of the highest paid players at the football club. He's also a World Cup winner. He's Paul Pogba, and Paul Pogba's agent Mini Raiola. He's been working on trying to get Paul Pogba's transfer to Real Madrid complete for the entirety of this summer. And Paul Pogba's agent Mini Raiola, he's said at the start of pre-season that his client is in the process of leaving Manchester United to join Real Madrid. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has spoken to Paul Pogba, I think, throughout pre-season. Well, he's spoken to the vast majority of our players throughout the course of the summer. He also spoken a lot about Paul Pogba, and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer praised Paul Pogba now, because Ole Gunnar Solskjaer knows how much of an imperative player and that he is. But it hasn't only been this summer that Paul Pogba's been widely spoken about and subjected to a lot of transfer speculation. Reflecting back last summer, Paul Pogba, was widely spoken about, and there was talks about him last year going back to Juventus. There was also talks about him going to Barcelona in January, based on his poor relationship with Jose Mourinho. And of course Paul Pogba got one of his best wishes, of course, when Jose Mourinho left the football club, because obviously the pair had a bad relationship. But Paul Pogba, there has been talks throughout the course of summer of him possibly making a return back to Juventus and that, but I don't think he'll make a return back to Turin and that. So yeah, so there is still uncertainty regarding Paul Pogba's future and that, but I'm hopeful now that he can stay at the football club, and if he does, we've got to try and avoid Paul Pogba getting any kind of injury this season. But for me, in the January transfer window, we have definitely got to address that midfield. But like I said, we have got big ambitions for the future, and obviously, we want to get back to winning silverware, and this is obviously, something that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, wants to bring back to the football club. Obviously, he wants to bring that fear factor back to Manchester United, and that fear factor, hasn't been there, since the Alex Ferguson era and that. And obviously, I did say our expectations this season, will be to obviously, finish in that top 4, perhaps maybe, win some silverware, because we have been lacking silverware in the last 6 years or so now, so that's been a huge disappointment and that. And obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has got to exceed these expectations and that. I do believe, analysing our squad now, it is definitely good enough for top 4 finish. It isn't good enough, of course, to win the league. But I did initially say our aspirations, will be that top 4 in the next couple of seasons and that, because I think it'll take at least a couple of years, to get us back to mounting any kind of title challenge, or of course winning the league and that. And I hope to say that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is the right man, to get Manchester United, back to being a competitive elite level football club. Solskjaer is our 4th manager since Alex Ferguson's retirement. That. Obviously, 3 managers have already been sacked from the football club, and like I said, we're not really known as a sacking club. We haven't got the structure to keep sacking managers a lot. So hopefully it can work out under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And obviously, we all love Ole Gunnar Solskjaer a lot. He was a great long-serving player for the football club for 11 years, and he flourished under Alex Ferguson's guidance and that. So I'm very, very hopeful, that it can work out under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and that. Obviously, we haven't had a great start to this season. We had a great start to pre-season because we won 6 games out of 6. Scored 12 goals and only conceded 3 goals and that. But we haven't had a great start to this season. One win, 1 draw, and of course 1 loss and that. So we haven't had a great start to this season. But, like I said, it was, disappointing in the last couple of months of last season. Because actually when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, was the interim manager, it went all really, really well. He exceeded expectations. The results were good. The performances in that were good. When he was the interim manager, of course, we won 14 games out of 19 when he was the interim. He won his first 8 games as well and that. And it's just all gone wrong, since obviously, he has got the job permanently. But I hope to say it can work out under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. But you can still quite frankly say that he's still in the process of rebuilding this Man United team. There's only 3 players that are Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's, don't forget. Obviously £148 million has been spent this summer under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era. It's only been his first summer anyway as Man United manager. Just under £400 million was spent under the Jose Mourinho era. Jose Mourinho, of course, recommended 11 players into the football club. Obviously, Solskjaer is still inheriting 10 of those players because obviously Lukaku now has left the football club and that. And I already give you the reasons why it didn't work out under the Jose Mourinho era. Is because obviously, he had bad disputes with the board, bad disputes with the top players. The board weren't backing the signings that he wanted to recommend in to the football club last summer and that. Obviously, there was no sort of winning philosophy. There was no sort of transfer strategy in that. And, it was part of the bus football under Jose Mourinho. So these are the reasons, obviously, why it didn't work out under him, even though he's got that proven pedigree. He was regarded as one of the best managers in the world at one point, but just didn't work out under him. But we did win the Europa League and League Cup under the Jose Mourinho era. Of course, that came in his first season. And then, we got under Louis van Gaal, he spent over £200 million on that. There's still some of them players here now from the Louis van Gaal era. There's still some of them players here now from the Louis van Gaal era and that. So quite a lot of them have left now, but a lot of money was spent under him. It didn't work out under Van Gaal because he didn't have the right kind of philosophy, and he didn't suit the stature of the club and that. He didn't have the stature to command us in that position where I wanted to be. And, with David Moyes, just under £67 million was spent under him. He bought Juan Mata, he bought Fellaini, and obviously Fellaini left the football club back in the January transfer window. And, of course, there's still some players here now from the Alex Ferguson era. He's still got De Gea here. De Gea, of course, is staying at the football club, which is good. Obviously, he's actually now with Sanchez going on loan, he's the highest paid player now at the football club. He's David De Gea because he's on 375 grand a week. You've got Smalling, but actually Smalling, as I said earlier on the video, is going on loan to Roma now, which is very, very good news. Jones is still here, don't forget, from the Alex Ferguson era. Jones has been at the club, I think, about 8 years. Obviously Ashley Young, of course, is still here from the Alex Ferguson era. I think he's now in his 9th season as a Manchester United player. He's Ashley Young. Obviously the club gave him a new 1-year extension last season, which was bad business, but he's coming to an end of his career anyway. He's actually young, is he 33 or is he actually 34 years of age now? But and like I said, I did say I'm hopeful that this team, now we've can replicate, what the team did under Alex Ferguson, for 26, 27 years. But I just thought, it's not going to happen. Obviously, I said, regardless of our managers, no one's going to ever follow Alex Ferguson's legacy. We're never going to achieve what we achieved under Alex Ferguson. That's obviously something we've got to work on accepting that. But, like I said, a hell of a lot of money's been invested into the football club in the last 6 years or so. And I don't like the way the football club's been run anywhere in the last 6 or 7 years. But like I did say to you, as I just said, what's been spent under the managerial eras since Ferguson's retirement, it works out to just under £1 billion we've spent. So it's around £968 million that's been spent. If you want to take into account what we spent under Alex Ferguson, it's way over £1 billion that we spent. But it just proves always spending big on players and getting them Glasgow players doesn't always guarantee you success. And it has proven this, of course, in the last 6 years or so with Manchester United and that. But like I said, But like I said, we've got a history of spending big on players and that. Look at the money we spent on players in recent years. Lukaku, we paid £75 million for him. Obviously, it's good now we recouped that money back because he's gone to Inter Milan. We paid £89 million for Pogba. We paid just under £50 million for Fred. We paid £80 million for Harry Maguire this summer. Obviously, Harry Maguire is the most expensive defender in the world. He's our second most expensive signing behind Paul Pogba, and he's actually now the second most expensive signing in the Premier League. We paid just under £60 million for Di Maria, back under the Louis van Gaal era. We paid £45 million up front for Wan-Bissaka with £5 million in add-ons, which did potentially rise it to £50 million and that. So we have got a history of spending big on players, but even though we have been inconsistent in the last 6 years or so, we are still one of the biggest clubs in the world. We're one of the richest clubs in the world. We are the most successful team in England, historically in that. But I'm hopeful to say that it can work out under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and that. And, he has got the experience of a manager, Solskjaer, not really to the highest level. And that's something else, of course, that does concern me. I think the disappointing thing, what is, though, that we didn't appoint a sporting director in, throughout the course of the summer transfer window, because for the majority of the summer, was in search for a sporting director. And I did say, we needed a structural change at the football club and that. There was quite a few names mentioned at the time who could have taken that director's role at Manchester United. And I did say at the time it would have been beneficial to recommend someone who knows the traditions of the club, someone who, of course, who's got that experience and that. But obviously, we didn't end up appointing a sporting director, and so we just decided, to let Ed Woodward, oversee our transfer business, throughout the course of the summer and that. But like I did say, we didn't get all the players that we wanted in throughout the course of summer, which is a disappointment. I would have been more happy if we'd have got at least one midfielder in and that. But yeah, definitely further more investment is needed in the squad. We've got a lot of aging up players as well in the squad, don't forget. We've got, Smalling, who's 29, but he's obviously going to Roma on loan. I think Jones is aging up as well. You've got Ash Young, that's 33, 34. You've got Juan Mata now, that's around 31 years of age. So yeah, we've got quite a few aging up. You've got Matic, of course, that's aging up. De Gea's now 28, 29 years of age as well. So we've got quite a few aging up players in the squad. And like I said, we've got players on big contracts and that. But, obviously, we could afford to do that. With Alexis Sanchez, as I did give you the breaking news about him yesterday, obviously we do know now he's gone on loan to Inter Milan. Obviously, I think he's actually undergone his medical now. It confirmed he arrived in Milan yesterday to undergo his medical. Sanchez has gone to Inter Milan on a 10-month loan deal. Obviously, it's cost Manchester United around £6 million to put him on this 10-month loan deal. I still believe, we're paying the majority of his wages, so I still think, despite Sanchez going on loan to Inter Milan, he's still our second highest paid player, and I think he's still our second highest paid player because we're paying him around 300 grand a week still. I think Inter Milan have agreed to pay around 4.5 million of his annual salary. I think his annual salary is around 21 million pounds and that, so we're still paying the majority of his wages. Don't forget, there's no obligation for Inter Milan to make the deal. There's no obligation to buy for Inter Milan, to make the deal permanent next summer. So after his loan spell with Inter Milan, he could actually come back to Manchester United. But now actually Sanchez is reuniting with Romelu Lukaku. But I probably do believe that Sanchez will succeed with Inter Milan, and that the football's a bit slower in Italy. And obviously Sanchez has already had experience of playing in Italy anyway, because obviously he played with Udinese when he was younger. I think he had 5 successful years with Udinese. But I'm really, really glad that we've got rid of Sanchez. I said the only way anyway we would have got rid of him is putting him out on long season loan, because I think it would have been extremely difficult for us, to get rid of him permanently, due to his substantial wages. Because obviously when he was at Man United, he was on 400 grand a week, potentially rising up to 500 grand a week, based on the image rights and the bonuses. And he was the highest paid player at the football club. He was the highest paid player in the Premier League. But as now he's on loan with Inter Milan, he's still our second highest paid player. Is Alexis Sanchez and that. But he has gone to Inter Milan on loan. But I did say for the last couple of weeks, Inter Milan have been they were regarded as the favourites. They had been in talks with us for several weeks and that. And obviously, it did even say if Sanchez would have remained at the football club, he only would have participated in the Carabao Cup in the Europa League and that. Because obviously, Sanchez had been below in his fitness anyway. He wasn't part of the pre-season squad. He wasn't even part of the pre-season squad because Sanchez had been on Copa America duty with Chile, where he was impressive. But whilst he was on Copa America duty, he had sustained a hamstring injury and that. And obviously, he has been working to full fitness. Obviously, last Thursday as well, Sanchez was absent from training in Carrington. I think it was something to do with visa issues. So obviously, that had fueled more speculation and that. But it has been there has been now a change of scenery, because reflecting back, I think this was prior to the Wolves game that Solskjaer said that Sanchez still wanted to be part of the squad this season. And Solskjaer was basically saying that he expects Sanchez to play a lot of games this season once he's fit and that, and he said he believed that Sanchez would have come good this season. That this is what he basically said, and he also denied speculation that Alexis Sanchez had been training with the Manchester United under-23 reserves, because there was rumours before he agreed a loan deal to Inter Milan that he would have been sent to train with the reserve team, obviously in order to force him out of the football club and that. But yeah, it's very, very good news. I'm very, very delighted about it. That Sanchez, of course, has left the football club, but he'll probably succeed over Inter Milan anyway, because it was a huge disappointment for Manchester United. Obviously, he came to the club in January 2018 as part of a swap deal of Mkhitaryan going to Arsenal, and Sanchez only managed 3 goals in 32 Premier League appearances, and only managed 5 goals in 45 games in all competitions for the club and that. And he didn't live up to expectation levels at Manchester United, as we all thought he would have done, really, because he had 4 good years with Arsenal, won quite a few FA Cups, he even played under Pep Guardiola's guidance when he was younger at Barcelona and that, and he did really, really well, and just didn't replicate any of that form at Manchester United. And Sanchez is age up now anyway, he's 30, I think he's 31 years, he turns 31 years of age in December, and he's predominantly a left winger, is Sanchez, but he's versatile, so he can play in various other positions. But I'm really, really glad, we have got him at the football club. So Inter Milan yet again have done business with Manchester United. Obviously, I think now they've got Sanchez into Milan, they've actually dropped their interest in Paul Dybala, because I do believe Inter Milan, were in for Paul Dybala. But Sanchez still actually had just over 2 years left on his contract at Man United. He was still under contract with the club until 2022 and that. So I'm hopeful after this 10 months that, somewhere down the line, Inter Milan, can negotiate with us over getting, Sanchez permanently and that, because I don't want him back to Manchester United. I don't think he's going to succeed at the football club. But, Solskjaer had, confirmed anyway, that a number of clubs were interested. He did say a lot of Italian clubs, inquired about getting Alexis Sanchez and that. But like I said, Solskjaer had held further talks with Sanchez anyway, regarding his Manchester United future and that. So I think it's beneficial for us getting rid of him. It's also beneficial for the player himself, because obviously he hasn't even been first choice anyway. He wasn't even first choice last season. So I'm glad, now he's gone to Inter Milan. Very, very delighted about that indeed. My overarching view on Jesse Lingard is now, I don't think Jesse Lingard's had a great start to this season. As you all know, Jesse Lingard was inconsistent in the last couple of months of last season, but I still did say he's the long-term solution for Manchester United. And Jesse Lingard is highly experienced. He's 27 years of age, or something, or is he 28? He has still got a lot of development in him. Obviously, Lingard can play as a number 10. He can also play on the right wing, just like Juan Mata can. But obviously, Jesse Lingard is first choice ahead of Juan Mata and all that. And we have seen glimpses of how good Jesse Lingard can be, but I think he's been disappointing, so far this season. So actually, in the game against Southampton the weekend, I do believe Jesse Lingard, could be dropped, due to his inconsistency. But I think he'll rotate the squad a bit different against Southampton. Now, obviously, like I said, we've got quite a few injuries. I don't think Martial will be playing at the weekend. I don't think Dalot won't be playing at the weekend. I don't think Luke Shaw will be playing at the weekend. And that's obviously, in that aspect anyway, he's going to have to rotate the squad a little bit. He's going to have to rotate the squad a little bit. But the main part of this video, was to give you the breaking news in regards to Chris Smalling. The news has broke out today, this morning. It's stemming from Fabrizio Romano, who's an Italian journalist who's reliable, especially when it comes to Italian news. He said, Chris Smalling has agreed to join Roma on a long-season loan. Roma will pay just under £3 million for the loan and that, but there is no option to buy, or there is no obligation to buy in that. So he is going to Roma on loan, is Chris Smalling. But I think this is very, very good business from the football club and that. But it's confirmed from Sky in Italy. Chris Smalling this morning headed to Manchester United's headquarters. I think it said something like that, to define his transfer exit, and I think he's set to undergo his medical this evening, in Italy, so he can join Roma on loan and that. So yeah, that's very, very good news. Roma also inquired about getting Sanchez, don't forget, but actually Sanchez had turned down a move to Roma. So anyway, guys, drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do consider subscribing, as always, and take care, God bless, and I'll see you all again very soon. Thanks for watching.